Singapore gleamed like a ring on a hand. They'd arranged a side entrance. Inside the clinic's pristine white office, the doctor explains the procedure. Lami swallows nervously. Tae-Hyun doesn't flinch, his tone sharp. Tae-Hyun voice low and controlled. Everything must be discreet. I don't care the cost. No leaks, Dr. Zach replied. Of course, Mr. Kang. But she'll need treatments to prepare her body. Hormone injections, monitoring, rest. Lami blinks as she asked hesitantly. Hormone injections? What are the side effects? Dr. Zach replied. Fatigue, dizziness, nausea, sometimes fainting spells. Her chest tightens. She glances at Tae-Hyun. For the first time, his eyes soften, though only for a second. Tae-Hyun to Lami, coldly reassuring. You'll endure. You signed up for this. Walking away isn't an option anymore. You've seen too much. So you belongs to me until this is over. Lami's head snapped toward him. Excuse me? I don't belong to anyone. A small, mocking smile tugged on his lips as he replied, until the procedure is successful, every decision about your health is mine. Don't fight it. But you agreed to this. The doctor glanced nervously between them, then quickly excused himself, leaving them alone. Lami stood, her eyes flashing. You're unbelievable. You think you can just control me? He rose too, towering over her and said, Control? No. Protect. If you collapse halfway, this entire deal is ruined. So yes, Miss Lami. From now on, you follow my rules. Minutes later, they both stepped into the elevator. As the doors slide shut, Tae-Hyun, without looking at her, this stays between us, the agency, and the clinic. If anyone finds out, it won't just be my name on the line. Lami replied, I know how to be quiet. Tae-Hyun glances at her. You're very loud when you're brave, and you're very quiet when you're scared, Lami replied. For 1 second, his mouth almost curves. Almost. Then, ding. The doors open into the private garage. Then, immediately, they stepped out. Flash! Flash! 2 camera flashes on their faces. Fast. Bright. Gone. A scooter peels away into traffic. Tae-Hyun, voice flattening to command. Inside the car. Now. Lami, heart racing. Who was that? A problem. Tae-Hyun replied. By evening, the headline was, A lit match in dry grass. Billionaire Kang Tae-Hyun spotted with unknown woman at private clinic. What is he hiding? Her phone trembled with messages from people who otherwise forgot her name. He took the phone and set it face down. Tae-Hyun to Lami. No doom scrolling. As long as they don't know who you are, it dies in 2 days. And if it doesn't? Lami asked. Then I bury it. Tae-Hyun replied in a stern tone. Days later, Lami sat nervously on the examination bed, sleeves rolled up as the nurse prepared the injections. She hated needles. She winced, squeezing her eyes shut as she asked, Do they really have to do this every time? A shadow fell across her. Tae-Hyun had stepped closer. Tae-Hyun, voice low but firm. Stop making a scene. It's just an injection. She shot him a glare, but when the needle pierced her skin, her hand instinctively grabbed his wrist. For a moment, he froze. His instinct was to pull away, but he didn't. Instead, his hand shifted, steady and strong, covering hers. Tae-Hyun, to Lami quietly. It'll be over soon. Don't be dramatic. Her eyes opened, meeting his. For the first time, she caught a flicker of concern beneath his arrogance. When it was over, she exhaled shakily. Lami muttering, Easy for you to say. You're not the one getting stabbed. The other injection burned like a small betrayal. The world tilted once, then twice. Her knees weakened. His hand was there, steady, warm, impersonal on purpose. Tae-Hyun to Lami, in a quiet tone, Breathe. Count with me. 3, 2, 1. Lami replied through her teeth, Don't be nice. It confuses my nervous system. Tae-Hyun noted, Be awful later. Stand now. Then, Her phone buzzed with a friend's message, and then another, and then a thread of question marks from people who didn't acknowledge her until they smelled smoke. In the clinic recovery room, the nurse dabbed alcohol on Lami's arm. "Deep breath," she said, and slid the needle in. The room tilted on its axis. Lami swayed. A strong hand caught her shoulder, steadied her. His. "Careful," he said, voice gentler than he wanted it to be. The nurse clicked her pen. "You'll feel lightheaded for a few minutes." Tae-Hyun's phone vibrated with the fury of a nest of hornets. He glanced at the screen. His PR head, his general counsel, 2 board members, and predictable his mother. He stepped into the hallway to answer one call and killed the rest. No statements. If pressed, say, "I'm supporting a health initiative in the region. Keep it clean. And if any outlet prints her face, I will bury them in court," Tae-Hyun said furiously before hanging up the phone. Then, he returned to find Lami scrolling the headline again, jaw tight enough to crack. He plucked the phone from her hands. "Hey, no more of that," he said. "As long as they don't know who you are, you're safe. The story dies in 48 hours. He held her gaze. "You will not drown on my watch." "I wasn't planning to," Lami replied. "Good, because if you do, my mother will mount my head on a wall," Tae-Hyun added. Despite everything, Lami huffed a small laugh. They both lived in Tae-Hyun's penthouse in Singapore for security reasons during the procedure, and life in the penthouse was complicated. At breakfast, he criticized the way she poured milk into her cereal. Tae-Hyun to Lami, "You eat like a child." Lami to Tae-Hyun, "And you brood like an old man." When she tried to sneak downstairs for fresh air, he stopped her at the door. Tae-Hyun said, "No stress, no late nights, no distractions." Lami replied, "You're not my father." Tae-Hyun replied back, "No, I'm worse. I'm the man whose future depends on you." And yet, when she fell asleep on the couch after a long day of appointments, she woke to find a blanket draped over her. He didn't say a word about it. Neither did she. One late evening, after another round of injections, Lami steps onto the balcony to breathe. Tae-Hyun joins her, his presence heavy beside her. On morning, Lami fainting briefly in the hallway, Tae-Hyun catches her just before she falls. His grip is firm, too close, too warm. Then, awkward silences at the dinner table, broken only by his teasing remarks. Tae-Hyun, smirking, "You look pale. Don't collapse on my floors, it'll stain the marble." Lami glaring, "I'd rather faint than keep listening to your arrogance." He chuckles. It infuriates her more. Lami's jaw tightens. "Lami, you're treating me like property, not a human being." Tae-Hyun smirks, leaning closer, his voice a dangerous whisper. "Property doesn't talk back this much. Consider yourself a very expensive investment." Her cheeks flush with anger, and something else she can't name. Back in Seoul, the tabloids explodes with the clinic photos. TV anchors speculate. Headlines scream, "Billionaire Kang Tae-Hyun spotted with unknown woman at private clinic. What is he hiding?" Why was Kang Tae-Hyun visiting a fertility clinic with a mystery woman? Could this be a secret girlfriend? Or something scandalous? In his penthouse, Tae-Hyun throws a magazine onto the glass table. Lami, pale from the medication, watches nervously. "They're already writing about us. This could ruin you," Lami said with panic in her voice. Tae-Hyun, laughing coldly. "Ruin me? Lami, I built empires from dust. No reporter can touch me. But you," he steps closer, pinning her with his gaze. "You walk away now. You'll be destroyed. You've seen too much. You're in this until the end." At night, when the city lights climbed the windows, he worked in the living room, while she pretended not to notice him existing. Sometimes they collided in the kitchen. Sometimes she made too much noise on purpose. Sometimes he ignored it on purpose. Once, when she thought he was out, she went to the service balcony with a mug of tea and let the frustration leak out in a whisper. "Why did it have to be you?" "Because the universe has taste," he said from the shadows, and she nearly threw the mug at his face. Stop sneaking up on people. I live here, Tae-Hyun replied. Unfortunately, he took one step closer, then stopped like he'd reached a line only he could see. You're doing well, he said, and it was almost human. Don't be nice, she said, unsettled. It confuses my nervous system. Noted. Good. They stared at the city until the silence wasn't awful. Lami takes injections daily. She struggles with dizziness, nearly collapsing in the hallway. Tae-Hyun catches her in his arms before she hits the ground. Their faces are inches apart. His voice drops, softer than before. Tae-Hyun whispering, "Be careful. You're not allowed to break." "Not yet." Lami pulling away, blushing, angry. "Stop acting like you care." Tae-Hyun smirking again, masking something deeper. "I don't care. I'm just protecting my investment." But as he watches her walk weakly to her room, his eyes linger too long. Something unspoken burns there. At their final hospital visit that week, Dr. Zak smiled gently after the procedure. Dr. Zak to Tae-Hyun, "The embryo transfer went well. Now, all we can do is wait." Lami's heart pounded. Wait? For what felt like forever. Dr. Zak, "In a few days, we'll know if you're pregnant." Lami's breath caught. Tae-Hyun's expression was unreadable. His eyes locked on her. For the first time, neither of them had a comeback. They both stepped into the elevator, and then he leans in, close enough that she feels his breath brush her ear, and said, "9 months of you in my life. Sounds like hell." Lami turned her face to him, steady, unblinking, and replied, "Then brace yourself."